guys, welcome back to my channel. I actually have a little bit of a book haul today. Some of these, I think a couple of them I actually got last month, but I didn't do any kind of book haul. I've been trying to be good and not buy so many books. There were just quite a few new releases that came out at the beginning of September that I had to have, and that's what put me over. Because it's not that often that I'm paying full price for books, but these ones I really wanted. So the first one I actually did get last month, and I don't think I did any kind of book haul, but I may have mentioned that I purchased Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Tom from Tom Talks Books next month, and it's one of these that I'm assuming I'm going to love. I bought it off of, I think, Thrift Books. Maybe it's a used copy. So, it wasn't crazy expensive or anything. It was like $6. So I figured if I end up not liking it for some reason, I'm not out that much money. And these next two books also were used, or are used copies, I think. But they're from the same series. It is Crimson Crown and The Demon King from the Seven Realms series. It's book 1 and book 4 of the 4-book series. So one of them I got off of Book Outlet. They had a sale, so they were cheaper there. The full price is only $10 anyway, but I got it for $6 or $7 or something. And then the other one I actually got with store credit at Changing Hands. So now I have the complete series. Also, when I went to the library a few days ago and went ham on checking out books, I also figured, hey, why not check out the store at the library, the bookstore? Because I like spending money. It was only $3, but I got I got books 2 through 7 of the Sookie Stackhouse, the paperbacks. Now, oh God. Technically, I already have these. Lily, can you stop? Ma'am. Hey! She's playing with the ball thing. Anyway, I already had these, but my copies all are missing backs. And they're Lily, stop it! I'm gonna punch her in the face. I mentioned that I had got these from my mom. She works at a pharmacy. When they don't sell books or magazines, they can send back to get credit for them, but they're told by the vendor to just tear off the cover with the UPC code and send that back. So they have all these books and magazines with no back covers or no covers, and instead of throwing them away, she was like, hey, do you want these? And I said, sure. And so I had them. Now, this was kind of stupid. It would have been dumb if they weren't 50 cents each, but they were. But because I'm working on getting all of these books in hardcover anyway. So why did I feel the need to buy the mass market paperbacks in newer cover? Because they're 50 cents. And I'm rereading the series, and I already read the first book, but I have not read the rest of them. So starting from book 2, now I have a nicer copy to read from. I don't know, I have problems. So next up are the new releases that I got this month. This one I actually pre-ordered, and funny story. I pre-ordered this back I feel like in January or something when they first announced it, and that is I Hate Everyone But You by Gabby Dunn and Allison Raskin. So if you don't know, they have Gabby and Allison, they used to work for BuzzFeed. They are one of the many people who stopped working for BuzzFeed and started doing their own, creating their own content. And they created a channel together. They're best friends, and the channel is Just Between Us. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I don't know how these girls don't have more followers. I don't know how they don't have their own TV show. They're so funny, and their skits and everything that they do, comedic gold. So when they announced that they had this book, I was very interested. I pre-ordered it while I was living in my old apartment. And then it came out this month, and it shipped out, and I got the email hey, it shipped. And I was like, yeah, sweet. And then I'm checking the tracking and it was delivered Mesa, and that's where I used to live. And I was like, God dang it. So I had to call the apartment complex, right? And I was like, it got delivered by USPS. It's in that new, whoever lives there, in their mailbox. And they were like, okay, well, we can't go into their mailbox. we'll just have to call them and like, you know, try to get in touch with them. So 3 or 4 days later, I called back and they were like, yeah, they haven't called back. Like, we went and knocked on the door. They didn't answer. They haven't said anything to us. And I was like, well, frick. So on a whim, this is my fault, obviously, but on a whim, because I really wanted the book. And I was like, I'm willing to buy it again. I don't care. But I just thought, on a whim, maybe Barnes & Noble, who I pre-ordered it from, maybe they could do something for me. Like, give me some kind of a little discount or something. I don't know. I just was like, it's worth a shot. So I chatted, told them the situation, and I was like, it's my fault. Like, I forgot about it, and I forgot to update my address. But now this new resident, like, isn't responding or whatever. Actually, they told me that they said they didn't have it. Yeah, that the guy or the person, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, said that, like, they didn't have anything in their mailbox. And I was like, liar! So Barnes & Noble was like, hey, we'll send you a new one. I was like, really? So they sent me a new one, which is out for delivery today. But then also today, earlier, while I was filming, my old apartment called me and said, oh, hey, that person brought that book in. So I went and picked it up from them, but now I have another one that's going to be delivered today. So I'm going to have 2 of these. So, I mean, I'm not mad about it. I'll probably keep it and maybe do a giveaway at some point. I don't know. But look at this inside cover. It's freaking pink. And I've been complaining about not having books that are pink because it's my favorite color. And it's so rare, especially like liking fantasy like I do. They're all dark and like, ooh, mysterious. None of them are pink. It's pink and it's got like shiny foily. Oh my god, I love it. Oh, I should probably say what this is about. I mean, the premise I know is it's like texts and emails and chats is like format, so it's like mixed media. And it's best friends who, I think it's like the first time they've been away from each other. They're at different colleges. And I can totally relate to this because my best friend, I mean, now I can relate since I live across the country, but my one best friend and I, we've been best friends since 4th grade. We've like known each other our whole lives, but we didn't ever have a class together until 4th grade. And then we did, and we became best friends. And we were like attached at the hip through elementary, middle, and high school. I mean, like our lockers were always right next to each other. We were just always together. And then we both went to different colleges, and our colleges were probably like, I'm gonna say they're like 2 hours apart. And it was like our first time ever not like being around each other all the time. And it kind of like sucked through college a little bit, like not having that person around all the time. I know for us, it was like, when you get other friends or like new, like, oh, they're my best friend too, like that jealousy or like feeling like, oh, you're gonna like push me to the side or like we're gonna fall apart and not be friends anymore, like all those concerns and worries you have. But obviously we didn't need to be worried because we're still best friends. We've been best friends now for, God, like almost 25 years. Yeah, so I can totally relate to this. And then now I've moved away and I'm even further from her. And then another best friend, Megan, like, and they're kind of like my 2 people. And then I'm apart from all my best friends. Because then I moved here, became best friends with my cousin. We didn't really know each other before. We lived together, became best friends. And then she moved away to California. So yeah, I'm not around any of my like best friends. So I feel like I'm gonna really like this. It's just a little contemporary thing, and Gabby and Allison are hilarious, so I imagine it's gonna be a fun read. I just talked about that book for like 20 minutes, I feel like. The next one is dun dun dun, Wonder Woman Warbringer. I don't think I need to talk about this that much, because I mean, we know what it's about, right? It's about Wonder Woman. It's part of the DC Icons series they're doing. Very excited for this though. I love Wonder Woman, like the movie anyways. I've never read comics. You know how I feel about comics. And then, you know, I had to get Tower of Dawn, despite this being such an ugly cover. Sorry to the team that picked this out, but what? And I've heard mixed things, I mean, as you do with Sarah J. Maas, especially the Throne of Glass series, but it is near and dear to my heart. I just don't care about Cal that much, so I'm not in a big hurry to read this one. I'm not gonna lie. I will by the end of the year, but I'm much more excited to read like Wonder Woman before this one. Then we have God's Grave, which I think I got this the day it came out or the day after. I did a book chat about this. I'm not going to talk about it too much. It's the second book of the Nevernight Chronicles, following Mia on her quest for revenge. I read this already. I enjoyed it. I will have, if it hasn't already posted, I will have a book chat video going more in depth with this. And then this last one is definitely not a new release. And there is a second book that is part of this series that I just haven't received yet, but I did purchase. Okay, so do you ever have a book that you read when you were a child, like, or a book series, or just whatever? I read so many like standalone books when I was a kid, just, chapter books when you're like in elementary school. Stuff I'd get from like the Scholastic Book Fair and whatever. And this book I read I think I read it twice when I was a kid, and I loved it, and I loved the companion with it. I think it's a sequel. And I could never remember the name of it. And I feel like I own these books somewhere in my parents' house, but I've just never been, I know there's a box of books at my parents' house that like, I feel like it just like got legs and walked away because we cannot find it. My mom and I, every time I go home, we're like scouring closets, the basement, like it's gotta be somewhere. But anyway, and it's been a while and I couldn't remember the name of it. I couldn't remember the author or anything. I just remembered the vague premise. And I finally remembered the main character's name. I was Googling. I'm like, it's like this girl, it's a black girl. She's at like a preppy, prestigious like drama school or like performing arts school, and she's balancing schoolwork with like, being a middle schooler and like then being a teenager, and like her normal schoolwork with her performing arts schoolwork. And I remembered she had a rival, and there was a theme kind of like, they were touching on the concept of like, light skin versus dark skin and like racial issues even within the African American community. And I remember loving these books, and I couldn't remember anything else, right? Just that premise. And then I remember the main character's name, and I added that to my search, and I found it, and it is False Secrets by Candy Dawson Boyd. And the second book is called A Different Beat. And yeah, I loved this when I was a kid, and I'm like jazzed to reread it. So those are all the books in my current little book haul for this month and a little bit into last month. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Are there any new releases that came out this month that, I didn't get or talk about that you guys are really interested in or already got? Let me know. I know there's tons that come out in September, I feel like. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.